podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, April 2nd, 2022. This is episode 1881. Enjoy. This episode of the Tech Guy is brought to you by Linode. With Linode, there's no hidden fee, and you can scale up or down without penalty. Get $100 in credit right now when you visit linode.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, you know, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number if you want to talk high tech with me. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, well, you'd still need to use Skype or something like that, but it should still be toll free. 8888 Ask Leo. Now, on this show, we talk about all kinds of things. Computers, the internet, home theater. I told you that. Digital photography. Anything with a chip in it. If you want to call and ask a question, make a suggestion, make a comment, that would be cool. I would welcome you. I should remind you that there is a website. What kind of tech guy would I be without a website? That website is at techguylabs.com, and it will have links to anything I talk about, but also after-the-fact audio and video from the show, and even a text transcript you can search and then jump to the particular part of the show you want to listen to. So all of that at techguylabs.com. Good to remember that that is there. Let's see. What's going on in the world around us? A couple of things I wanted to warn you about. You might have seen this already. Scammers are texting you. I've been getting calls a lot in the last month or two about an unusual growth in the number of spam texts. Just obviously, you know, bogus malware style texts. And of course, you know, if your phone company, your wireless carrier offers some sort of filtering, you should probably use it. They should give that to you for free, by the way. Most do. A few try to charge, don't pay. Just say, no, get rid of this stuff. Lately, and this happened first to Verizon, I think it might be happening to others, people have been getting text messages from themselves, their own number. So it's important to understand the sending number is meaningless, just as it is in spam. It can be anything. There's websites and software out there that let you spoof any number. And so this is kind of a clever one. Because what the message says, this is from your phone company, right? Well, who else would it be? If it's my phone number, it must be from my wireless carrier. And then it links to a free gift. Okay. Now, that should set off alarm bells in your brain. For me, a free gift, it should not encourage you to click that link. The link leads to potentially malicious websites. It's kind of unclear what they're up to. Verizon confirmed it. In a statement to CNBC as part of a recent fraud scheme, bad actors, no, not Nicolas Cage, bad people have been sending text messages to some Verizon customers, which appear to come from the customer's own number. Since uncovering the scheme, our company has made a significant effort. I always like it when the phone company's made a significant effort. Thank you for your effort. A for effort. In school, when you got an A for effort, usually that meant a C for result. Since uncovering the scheme, our company's made significant effort to limit the current activity. So maybe you're not going to get it. I don't know. But if you did, don't click that link. Robokiller tracked more than 5,000 incidents of the same number spam text messages over the past week as of last Thursday. Robokiller is one of those places people filter calls through. I don't know if what Robokiller would do if it said, oh, that's your number. I guess now it would say, well, it's not something you want, although I don't know. Clicking the link in some cases takes you to a Russian television network, but Verizon said we have no indication of any Russian involvement. In some cases, it takes you to a link that looks like a survey from Verizon. It's not. Why would they do that? Well, if your phone has vulnerabilities, if it's not up to date or if there's an undiscovered vulnerability, we call those 0 days because it's been 0 days since they were discovered. An undiscovered vulnerability, then even just going to a website could trigger something bad. So it's just good advice not to do that. In fact, never click links that you get in your text messages unless it's clearly not only somebody because that can be spoofed too, but clearly like, oh, that's mom, I can tell. That's how she talks. We're almost out of Bitcoin. Well, not out, but we've got 19 million as of this week. 19 million Bitcoin. And the way it was designed by Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever that may be, because we don't know, but the designer of Bitcoin was that there would only be 21 million. So there's only 2 million left to mine. Actually, that's kind of interesting because if there are no more, and this is to avoid inflation, right? You can't print money. You can't print Bitcoin. Once you got the 21 million Bitcoin, you're done. But in the design of it, it gets harder and harder, and some say that the last 2 million might take years. The last 2 million might take years to generate. There will actually, technically, people have done the math, there will only be 20,999,817.31 Bitcoin units. I've seen people on Twitter say it could take another 100 years, so I don't know. But I think I can pretty much guarantee, because of human psychology, not for any real reason, that when the last one is mined, people will go crazy, right? They're going to say, "Oh my gosh," and the price is going to go up briefly until cooler heads. So if you have any Bitcoin, and you can wait 100 years, I don't think it's going to take 100 years. You can wait a little while. Till the last 2 million. We've got 20 million, we got 19 million already. If you can wait till the last, then I don't know. It seems like that would be a good time to sell fast. I'm the wrong guy to ask. I have 7.85 Bitcoin, which at last count is more than $250,000. If I could only remember my darn password. Should have written it down. Darn it. I'm against this. I'm not happy. I use, there's a company called Ubiquiti. They make Wi-Fi and network tools that are widely used in small businesses. It's kind of a prosumer unit. Here at the studio, we use Ruckus because it's a good name, I guess. But Ubiquiti is another good name that's widely used in businesses, mostly small businesses, but some big businesses. I use Ubiquiti at home because I finally got tired of my wife screaming that the internet was down. So I said, well, we're going to get better internet, and that meant better routers. So we put in Ubiquiti. And it's been very good, except I'm not happy with the company. You may remember some time ago that Ubiquiti had a breach. They actually had, I think it was a malicious employee, and there was some concern about passwords being leaked. At the time, Ubiquiti sent out an email saying, hey, there, you might want to change your password. It wasn't the strongest email ever. And a very good security blogger who used to be at the Washington Post, I think he's really good. I refer to him a lot. Brian Krebs wrote a blog post saying that Ubiquiti had intentionally misled the public about the data breach. Ubiquiti said, not only did we not, but Krebs was using the bad guy as his source. So they're suing him. Which in general, I think almost certainly destined to fail because we have, thank goodness, a free press in this country. And unless you can prove intentional malice, like he knew better and he did it on purpose because he was going after Ubiquiti, you're going to be hard-pressed to succeed in this suit. But it has a chilling effect, and that's the point, the reason I mention this. It's not a good thing. Look, you're going to get bad press in the world. Suing, isn't that the Streisand effect? Barbara Streisand sued because somebody flew a helicopter over her house and published pictures, and she sued, and all it did is make more people see the pictures than ever before. And I don't believe she won that case anyway. It's very hard to win in a case like that. And again, thank goodness we have a free press. So I'm not happy, Ubiquiti. Don't do that. That was bad. That was wrong. Because knowing Brian, I don't think he did that maliciously. He might have made a mistake. And I remember when this went out, and a lot of people were telling me, "Oh, you gotta change your Ubiquiti password and stuff," which I did. Ubiquiti said that too. Anyway, by now, if you use Ubiquiti, and most people again are using it in business, your IT person has come over and changed the password. Make sure it's safe. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number 888-827-5536. Website techguylabs.com. I think barring other stories to talk about, let's go to the phones next. I'm just waiting to hear what this is. This is wild. This is for our phone angel, Kim Schaffer. Hello, Kim.
Hi.
Have you ever heard that song before?
I have.
Oh, you know it.
Well, I don't know it.
It's a mashup, right?
No, I think two things were playing at once in the beginning.
Yeah, in the name of... Oh, that was a mistake?
I think it was a mistake.
Oh, but I liked it. It was done so well.
I don't think that was intentional.
Professor Laura's at the controls. She knows what she's doing. That's funny.
That's
funny.
And you were like, mashup. I'm like, I don't think so.
You can, that
was a train wreck, not a mashup.
Do you like? I like mashups.
I do like mashups. I actually heard a Miley Cyrus one.
It's where you take a couple of songs or more, and you play them like
she
together.
was doing her song Wrecking Ball, and then went into Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor.
Oh, I've heard that. It's a really powerful mix. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what was going on. As usual, I'm confused. Should I take a caller?
Yeah. Let's go to Orlando.
Orlando.
Jamie's in Orlando, and
all right.
Thinks his business emails are automatically going to the spam folder.
Oh, that would be bad.
Not good for business.
Thank you, Kim. Hello, Jamie from Orlando. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Welcome.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So the issue is generally we have had a couple instances lately where we have sent a prospective client an email and they don't receive it, only later to find out that they found it in their spam folder.
Yeah, it's very common.
Yes. And we've tried to remedy this. It's kind of been plaguing us for really the past couple of years, and we kind of are able to put a Band-Aid on it every now and then by switching different emails and things like that. And the only thing that we've found so far is that we've searched we've done the email spam tests to find out that we are potentially on a couple of email lists.
Yeah, the black hole lists. Yeah, that's not good. So a couple of things to say about this. Generally, and you'll see this all the time with newsletters and so forth, it says, add us to your contact list so it won't go into spam. But that requires your client to do something, which they may or may not want to do. And it isn't going to overcome if you're... Which lists are you on? Is it Maps, Orbs? Which one are you on? Do you know?
I don't know specifically.
Yeah.
I've just been chatting with my wife about it. We don't send out newsletters, but what we'll typically do is we'll say, like, thank you for your inquiry. Here's, and this might be a problem. We do include an attachment, which includes, like, our pricing and kind of the information about...
Yeah, so there are certainly things you can do that will make you look spammy, whether or not you're getting blacklisted. Attachments, links, those kinds of things often, but that depends on the client's tools, which spam filters are using, which email provider they're using. There's a website called mxtoolbox.com, and if you put in your domain name or your IP address, it will tell you who's blocking you. Mm-hmm. And then you have to go to those blacklists and say, hey, knock it off. And by the way, you may have varying success on that because, of course, a spammer is going to say the same thing. I think blacklisting is not a very good way to do this unless these blacklists are extremely careful about who they add. You know, they err on the side of caution as opposed to just block everything and then let you defend yourself. So that's one thing to try. Another thing to try is, who do you use for your outbound mail?
So we used to just use, originally when we were starting out, we used just our Gmail address. And then we had issues with that. Tried a couple things and settled on paying for a group of Google Workspace emails to try to mitigate
so
that. Google's
doing it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because usually if it comes from Gmail, that's a I mean, not necessarily a bad thing, but if it's coming from a Google Workspace, Google does all the right things as far as authentication, DKIM, and so forth.
Okay.
Now here's another one. Maybe this one's I think free. The other one looked like they would charge you after 100 lists. DNSBL.info. Make sure that's not a paid. Some of these are paid. This might be as well. At least check these to see if you can find out, and then all you can do is appeal it and say, "Get me off your blacklist."
Okay.
That would, if you are on a blacklist, that would really help. A lot of providers are cautious in their use of blacklists. They don't, so it really depends. Some providers, probably internet service providers in particular, are very cautious. They don't want to let spam come in, and so they may be, worse than overcautious, which may be, in other words, blocking you incorrectly. Try changing attachments are always a bad idea. Links, spammy subject lines, always a bad idea. All of that can get you caught by the spam filter at the receiving end. Adding you to, and you could, I guess they're clients, so you could say, hey, we do want to send out, important information about your account, et cetera, et cetera. In order to receive this, please add us to your contact list. Add this email address to your contact list. That will help. But honestly, if you're on a blacklist and the internet service, it's not all clients, right? It's just some.
Well, the main culprit was always it would go to spam whenever we sent to a Yahoo email address.
Yeah.
But now, more recently, it's been cropping up on a couple other domains as well.
Yeah. So there's a couple of, there's at least 50 spam blacklisting sites, and some of them are better than others. Once you get on that, it's very hard to send out email. Mm-hmm. So it's probably worth trying to get off these sites. Look at DNSBL, short for DNS blacklist, DNSBL.info. They have a list of them. And if you figure out which ones you're being blocked by, you can appeal it. That's probably the best thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And will that help temporarily, or do you think?
No, well, unless you get back on them, try to keep your stuff from being less spammy, I guess.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's a real problem for all of us. I get a lot of stuff that's sent to spam directly. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, everybody, the Tech Guy Podcast brought to you today by Linode. Love these guys. Been a Linode customer for a long time. They were one of the very first, what do you call this? Compute instances, cloud servers. They were one of the very first to offer SSDs. And they were always Linux, very Linux focused, which is great. And so I very early on signed up for Linode for the speed, for the reliability. And I've been a Linode customer ever since. They offer the industry's best price to performance value for compute instances, all kinds, shared, dedicated, high memory. They've even got GPUs, very nice GPUs. You get, by the way, with every account, free DDoS protection, a free cloud firewall, unfiltered API access, and more. And you don't have to pay all these crazy tiers that some other people will do. Linode offers predictable flat fee pricing, and it's the same across all 11 data centers. So you know what you're getting, you know what you're paying for, no surprises in the billing. And the reason I love Linode, and always has, is its people. The best support experience. They don't think of you as a product, they think of you as a customer. And they're there to serve you. Linode's independence and mission drive them to a different standard. The customer is the driving force behind everything they do. Very transparent pricing. It's predictable. It's pay as you go. They pioneered this flat pricing model for cloud computing. No more anxiety over hidden costs. Easy to launch and scale in the cloud. This is transformational, really, because now you don't have to buy a server or buy a colo. You don't have to. I mean, I remember in my first websites, you'd have to, go to a company. They'd have to provision it, blah blah blah, and it was like take days because it was an actual, piece of hardware, and you couldn't do anything with Linode. I should show you. I will when I get the computer working. You just log into linode.com and boom, set it up all by yourself. No waiting. Full featured API. A great cloud manager, best-in-class documentation. In fact, no matter what you want to do, there's a page or a video that will just tell you how to do it on Linode because they've been around for a long time. Linode makes it easy to manage your applications in the cloud with secure, proven, enterprise-grade infrastructure. Totally reliable. They've got, again, this comes back to how long they've been around, great peering relationships with everybody. And they're not, believe me, they're not resting on their laurels. They've got an incredible NGN, next generation network. So you're getting modern infrastructure, performance, gives you the opportunity to innovate no matter what scale. And as you grow, Linode's there for you. Whether you're hosting your website, that's mostly what I do. Although I have to say, because I like to learn web technologies like React, I love the ability to spin up a quick server, set up, put in Node and all that stuff. And so it's great for building apps, hosting apps. You can use it to back up, to store media. A really easy way to set up developer applications or hosted services or websites. They have, I said, GPUs. They can do AI and machine learning workloads. Great stuff. Gaming services. It's great for a CI/CD environment. Do all your builds there. You can launch and scale in the cloud with their virtual machines. Yes, they have S3 compatible object storage. Yes, they have managed Kubernetes. They've got it all. And I've got for you a $100 credit right now if you go to linode.com/techguy. LINODE, linode.com/techguy. They've been there since 2003. I think that's probably when I first got an account back in the Tech TV days. So they help pioneer cloud computing. This is one of the very earliest, one of the best. And by the way, they're not behind the times. G2 Crowd just rated them the easiest to use in 2021. Cloud developers love Linode. Great human support, 100%. Great API, full-featured, simple pricing. They just make complex cloud infrastructure easy to do. With Linode, there's no hidden fee, and you can scale up or down without penalty. Highly recommend them. $100 in credit right now. Go to linode.com/techguy. Linode.com/techguy. We thank them so much for their support of the Tech Guy Show. And I thank you for supporting the Tech Guy Show. If you're looking for a cloud server, nowhere better than Linode. Make sure you go to that website so they know they saw it here. Linode, linode.com/techguy. Thank you, Linode. Now back to the show. What is hip? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you our famous wind instrument, Mr. Scott Wilkinson. You play them. You aren't one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Home theater geek and contributor at techhive.com. Hello, Scott.
Hello, Leo. How you doing?
Good. I'm good. Glad to see you.
Yeah, glad to see you too.
How are things in the world of big screen TVs and surround sound?
Things are great. I've actually got a video I want to hip you and the listeners to. It's from a friend of mine, Peter Palomaki, who is a quantum dot expert, actually. He was on my podcast at one point, and he has started making a series of videos. The first one is up now, where he basically tears apart a TV and takes a look at the innards and how things work. It's really fascinating. His handle on YouTube is Nano Palomaki. Because he's a quantum dot expert, so he's into nanotechnology. So Nano Palomaki, Nano Palomaki.
Dr. Pete.
Dr. Pete, yep, indeed. And he's got a video up there currently in which he basically completely disassembles a Vizio MQ8.
You wouldn't think disassembling it would give you anything of value because, I mean...
It gives you information.
Yeah, certainly, but the things are so small. Can you tell that it's a nano QLED?
You can't see the quantum dots, of course,
Yes,
because they are, in fact, nanoscale. But what you can see, he shows you how the quantum dot film works. And he takes measurements, spectrographic measurements of the light coming off of the LED itself.
Oh, so you can at least see
you see the effect.
Effect, yeah.
Yes, and then he takes all the films off, and you can actually watch the local dimming work. He sends it a signal.
Oh, neat.
And you can see the signal on his computer monitor. You can see what the video image is, and then you can see the LEDs and the fold backlight working and dimming and brightening according to what's on the screen.
Oh, that's
it's really
cool.
fascinating. Really fascinating.
So, yeah, obviously you can't see quantum dots, but you can see the effect. So he's looking...
You can see the effect.
If he takes it apart, he can control it directly, and he can show the full array local dimming.
Yep.
There aren't as many dimming zones as I thought. I'm looking at his video right now. They're actually fairly big.
Well, they are. There's only 180 LEDs back there, and there's only 90 dimming zones.
Is that typical, or is that just...
no, that's a fairly lower...
Vizio's
less
expensive.
End.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Vizio's a less expensive brand, and so one way to save cost is to use fewer LEDs.
Although any local dimming is better than no local dimming.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
So they set off fireworks and do all sorts of things, and they show...
Right, and you can see...
That's really cool. They're playing the snake game, as that snake wanders around on your screen, and that's lit up. And so they're showing how the full array local dimming lights up for the snake. And it's not as fine as the snake.
Correct,
but
not nearly as fine.
No, but it's still, you can see how it's kind of cool to see that lighting up like that.
So I've talked about FALD, full array local dimming, on the show many times, and I can talk about it, but you really need to see it in action to understand how it works.
Yeah.
And this is great.
In a way, it's better to use the less expensive Vizio with the larger dimming zones because you could see it more clearly.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you could just imagine in your mind, well, what if this were, these were 10 times the number of local dimming zones, that kind of thing.
I've seen that, actually. And when you have a bunch more LEDs and a bunch more zones, it actually looks almost like a black and white low-res version of the image on the screen.
That would make sense, yeah. Especially if you play Snake or something like that.
Especially.
Yeah, because then that's the only thing lit on the screen, so you could see it moving around. What is the typical number of local dimming zones?
Well, it can go from 90 here in the case of the Vizio, or even in the lower cost Vizios, it might be even lower than that. Yeah. It can go up to a couple hundred, 256. In the really expensive ones, it can go up into the 512, say, range. And then in the mini LED TVs.
It's very high, right? I think Apple was talking about thousands.
Thousands. Yeah. Thousands of zones.
I think Apple said they had 2,500 local dimming zones on their mini LEDs for the iPad. Yep. And the iPad's not that big. It's only 12.9 inches.
Not that big, yeah. So they're using mini LEDs there. And so, yeah, Pete's video, I think, is really fun to look at and very instructional, very informative.
Do you see anything from the quantum dots, the QLED. I mean,
Yes.
local dimming's available in normal LED backlights too.
Correct. And what he does with the quantum dots is he shows you their effect. And so he'll take a probe, a meter, and show you the spectrum and how the spectrum of the light that's
cool.
coming out of the TV changes when you read after the quantum dots and read before the quantum dots.
Interesting. Okay.
So he'll show you the red, green, and blue, because as we know, color TV images, video images, are made out of red, green, and blue. That's all there is. And you combine those in different ways, and you can get a full color image. And so he shows you how those red, green, and blue peaks in the spectrum change with and without quantum dots.
What this really informs us of is that when you're talking about an LCD TV, it's the backlight that's the most important technology.
Yes.
The actual LCD part, the liquid crystal shutters, are completely secondary to what you're putting through those shutters, the backlight.
The backlight is, I would agree, is the most important part, because that determines the color, the character of the light that you're going to see coming off the TV. The LCDs, all they do is let more or less of that light through. Yeah, exactly.
So actually, I guess in a way that justifies companies like Samsung calling their TVs LED TVs, even though we know they're LCDs. They're talking about the backlight, and the same thing with QLED. They're talking about the backlight, not the
backlight. And a QLED, the backlight is a quantum dot enhanced LED backlight.
Have there been improvements in the actual LED crystals? I mean, back in the early days of laptops, we had twisted LEDs and TFTs and all that.
Well, those are LCD technologies.
That's what I mean, LCDs. I was wondering if they've improved those shutter technologies.
Not particularly.
So we got to a certain point where they were good enough, then we start focusing on the backlight.
Yeah, exactly. There are two types of LCD shutter technologies. One is called IPS, and you asked me about this off camera last week.
Yeah, in fact, most computer displays now are IPS.
Right, which gives you a better off-axis picture quality. You can go away from center and see a better picture.
Right.
But the blacks aren't as good.
Right.
Whereas VA, or vertical alignment, gives you better black level performance, but worse off-axis performance.
IPS is in-plane switching.
In-plane switching, which is a reference to the technology that the LCD uses to make its shutter.
So I should not look for IPS. I should look for...
Well, in terms of a TV, if you're going to be watching on axis, yes, you want a VA panel.
Okay. VA.
And if you want, if though you're going to have a big Super Bowl game and a bunch of people off axis in a bright light situation, then black level doesn't really matter that much. You probably would prefer an IPS panel.
Now get ready, because LG has just announced something they call IPS Black.
So here may be an example of trying to improve an existing technology.
Yeah. Interesting. These are coming to Dell monitors first. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to look into that.
It was literally announced 2 days ago. So
oh wow, okay.
That's the hot news. Scott Wilkinson, he is the hotness in home theater geekery. Thank you for joining us. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And now, I can't give you a clock.
Oh, you can't give me a clock because of your computer problems?
Yeah, but as soon as I get it fixed, you'll have a clock before the end of the before the top of the hour, I'm sure.
Yeah, I will be listening for your cue.
Yeah, so you can just watch me futz. All yours.
Thank you very much, Mike B. I should have mentioned this, that Martin Pope recently passed away at 103. He was a physical chemist and largely responsible for OLED. So we weren't really talking about OLED in this particular case. You said that a lot of discussion wouldn't be possible without Martin Pope. I don't have a detailed list of the technologies he worked on. He worked on quite a few, and he may very well have worked on LED or LCD as well. But he certainly was instrumental in bringing OLED into reality. Aaron Clapp asks, what's that cube thing on the shelf behind you? That is what's called a hypnolight. And it's an array of 4x4x4 color LEDs. And it does a random cycling of colors and patterns and blinking and stuff. So it's just a fun thing. Beatmaster, let's say the link that you posted last week, sorry. He invented the science, Mike B says. The science of OLED, of TV, of what exactly? Let me just quickly take a look at what this link is here. Here it is. Yes, thank you. The concern over QD OLED pixel structure. I'll have to read that and see. Oh, this is interesting. There's a large green and then a smaller red and a smaller blue in between the greens, which makes some sense because green, we as humans are most sensitive to green and less sensitive to red and blue. But I'll have to read that. I'm not going to do that while I'm here in the chat room chatting with you folks, but I will read that. Thanks, Beatmaster. Really appreciate it. Faux pas, can you rank micro LED, mini LED, and nano cell? Well, those are somewhat different technologies. Micro LED, as the name implies, compared to mini LED, the LEDs are smaller, and micro LED is typically a direct view technology. So you have a panel of micro LED, an array of micro LEDs, and they emit light, and you see that directly. Mini LED is a backlight technology for LCD TVs. And they're smaller than regular LEDs, but they're larger than micro LEDs. And they are behind the screen. And we were talking about this on the air, that they are smaller, so you can have more of them behind the screen, and you can have more local dimming zones, and that makes a better quality picture. Nanocell is a technology from LG. And that, I don't understand it fully, but it is a supplement to the LED backlight. I won't pretend I know that much about it because I have to read about it. But that is a supplementary technology in LG LCD TVs that presumably gives better blacks, better viewing angles, so they say. Mike B says, Martin Pope paved the way for the development of high-performance displays in general. Well, yes, certainly OLED, I guess other technologies as well. Yeah, he was a very important guy, and he died just recently at the age of 103. Good for him.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 88. It's a beautiful morning, 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. Back to the phones we go. Johnston on the line from Durham, North Carolina. Hi, Johnston.
Hey, Leo. Leo, how you doing today?
I am good. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for accepting my call. First thing I want to do is thank you. I've been following you since the Tech TV days, and I do attribute my IT career and some of my personal journey to what you guys and your team had done throughout the years with the information.
I hope you enjoy IT.
I do.
You don't curse me every morning that you're going to work. Okay, that's good. Damn that Leo, he made me an IT man. Yeah, well, I've been making geeks for many, many years now, so I'm glad you're in the.
Yeah, and you have one more on your belt.
Yay! Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My question is, I have a Dell Longitude 7390 2-in-1.
Yeah.
And it had an old version of Windows on there that I didn't like, so I totally wiped the drive. And I was going to install Linux, so I can go ahead and start playing with Linux and have a Linux-based machine.
It's a good choice for Linux. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I did it, I wiped it, and I able to boot the laptop via my thumb drive. But when I went ahead and tried to install it, it wouldn't let me do it.
Yeah.
And once I rebooted it, it came up with the message saying no bootable drive found.
Right.
So I went into the system, and I tried to.
Let me just before you tell me what you tried to do. Let me just suggest a couple of things. So Linux traditionally doesn't do well with secure boot. So the very first thing you do is you go into the BIOS setup. You probably did this and turn off secure boot. Did you do that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I did. Already.
The other thing sometimes you need to do is turn on legacy BIOS-style booting, and there'll be a setting in that Dell for that as well. They usually call it legacy boot. And that just makes it more compatible. Probably the problem is EFI. The way EFI booting works, you probably know this as an IT guy, is there's a little portion of code on the hard drive that it boots from. And there are Linuxes that support EFI. I mean, that's one other way to do it, is to make sure that you have a Linux and you make a USB installer that will support UEFI. So that's probably the preferred method. But if you've already got a Linux and stuff, just try turning on legacy boot. That basically says pretend you're not UEFI. Pretend you're a BIOS system. And often that often works. You can, though, download, and more Linux support UEFI. Which Linux did you try? Ubuntu?
I tried Ubuntu at first. It didn't work, so I went to Linux
Mint.
well.
Mint.
Yeah, Mint as well. So I got both of them. I tried both, and neither one of them was working.
Yeah, Ubuntu should support UEFI. I would say, do you want a dual boot, or do you want to just? You said you wiped out Windows, right? You don't want Windows, right?
No, I don't want Windows at all. Just Linux.
Okay, so you'd go into the BIOS and turn on compatible, booting. Make it more like BIOS. That may just be all you need. The other thing to do is when you install Ubuntu or any Linux, you should let it completely repartition the drive. So you want to make sure that Linux puts its own partitions in place for EFI, for the swap, and all of that stuff. And all Linuxes have two ways of doing it. One is custom, where you get to choose everything. I would recommend, at least for the first install, that you just let it wipe the entire drive, repartition it Linux style, and let it go. You don't do that, obviously, if you're doing a dual boot. But since you don't care about Windows, I would just do that.
Okay.
All right, so there's a couple things to try.
Awesome.
This is good. Every IT guy should become an expert, not in Linux per se, but in Unix-style operating systems. Because, Unix is how many network servers run. Android is based on Linux, a.k.a. Unix. Macintosh is based on a flavor of Unix called BSD. So having a comfort with Unix is really, really valuable. It's the oldest operating system still in current use, and probably pretty dominant if you include all the Linux installations. Even Microsoft Windows is now adding WSL, which gives you a Unix command prompt under Windows, which is great. Oh, finally, if you're going to do UEFI, that's a very good point somebody's saying, make sure you make the USB key UEFI USB key. So Rufus, if you did it with Windows, Rufus will do that. There are various ways to do that. But it's easy to make a USB boot key that isn't UEFI by accident. So all of these are little stumbling blocks. That's part of your exciting journey into Linux nerditude. Have fun, Johnson. I'm glad to meet you, and thank you for the kind words. That's great. Call me back if this doesn't work, okay? We'll figure it out. I will tell you the Latitudes are very good Linux machines. Dell actually sells Latitudes and other computers, the XPS, with Linux pre-installed, Ubuntu. So it should work. All the hardware should be compatible. They've done a very good job of making their systems compatible with Linux. Julian on the line from Los Angeles. Hi, Julian.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
Oh, it's great. How are you?
I'm doing good, but, a little frustrated. So hoping to get some advice, or at the very least, just to use your megaphone here to hopefully get somebody's attention who can help with things.
I'll shout. What's up?
I'm having some problems with these companies, and I almost feel like, we need to sort of an e-commerce digital revolution, and I'm hearing John Lennon in my head right now as I say it. I'm having problems particularly with Walmart. They have a grocery delivery, which is great, and as a blind person especially, this is very helpful because it's a much easier and much less frustrating way normally to get your groceries delivered. But it seems like these days a lot of these companies like Walmart are set up to where if you have a problem with their system, they have a number you can call, but the person you're talking to, while very pleasant and you can tell they really want to help, it's not set up to ultimately let you get the help that you need, because they're not, Walmart particularly, is not set up to transfer you to a supervisor. This is what I'm told, and I've experienced it now several times to believe that it's true. And it's just frustrating because when you're trying to use their app to get something delivered, some of the problem I'm having may be accessibility related. But just to give you the short version of it, certain items, you put them in your cart and they appear as though they're in stock and everything like that. And you choose your
I know exactly what you're going to talk about. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then you go to check out.
Sorry, we're out.
Well, no, it's even more cryptic than that. It's that these items cannot be delivered to your location.
Yeah, this is a problem with all grocery delivery services, which is, and I think it's a flaw in their system. They don't know what the local store has or doesn't have. I've had the same problem with Amazon and Whole Foods, where you can get your whole shopping cart full, and then you go, and then they just take them out. They say, "Oh yeah, you don't want tomatoes."
Certain things will say out of stock, which is okay. Then it's out of stock. But others like these, no indication whatsoever. I don't know if visually it maybe puts a symbol on there that is not being sent.
I bet not, because I've been sandbagged by this several times in Walmart and Amazon's Whole Foods. So there's really two different problems. One is they haven't given you a recourse, and this is, I think every company should have an accessibility officer that really handles this, and a lot of the big technology companies do this. So I think this is a good thing to lobby for in general is, what is your commitment to accessibility? And give me the email address at least, or a phone number for an accessibility officer who I can talk to. Better than a supervisor, somebody who'll understand and can do something. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 4 years ago, Walmart was sued over this, by the way.
Oh. Yeah, and the funny thing is, it worked really good for a while, and then last year at some point, somebody decided, hey, let's merge the Walmart.com with the grocery delivery.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And ever since then, it's just been nothing but headaches.
Yeah. Walmart was sued over the self-checkout kiosks, which were not accessible. But usually when you see that was 2018, what you'll also see is a company that goes, oh, shoot, we better do better. And I'm just looking to see if they have an accessibility officer, because that's who you want to talk to.
Yeah.
Because there'll be more. I see that they have, it looks like accessibility services for each store, maybe, but that's not, you don't really want that. Boy, this is a good question. Disability accommodations. This is for employees. Okay. Senior Director, this is from LinkedIn. Gayatri Agnew, Senior Director and Head of Accessibility Center of Excellence. Well, now it's got to be good. At Walmart. That's interesting. Gayatri space Agnew. Walmart did settle over this issue. They've actually been sued a number of times because they're such a big retailer. They've been sued by the EEOC for disability discrimination. Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, this is the only person I can find is this Gayatri Agnew. Let me see if I can find anything more. Like a phone number would be awesome. Senior Director and Head of Accessibility. I don't know if this is for customers or employees. She's on the leadership team, which is a good sign that they give them a high level of, let me see. It'd be great if I could find the email. Yeah, that's the kind of thing where web designers need to be made more aware, obviously.
Right.
I think it's also, though, not an unusual problem. Oh, she has a website. GayatriAgnew.com. Interesting. She's an elected official as well. She's on the city council. Huh. Maybe that's a different one. What are the chances there'd be two of them? Leads the Accessibility Center of Excellence for Walmart.
Okay.
Designing a strategy to make the company a leader in increasing access for both its shoppers and employees. Well, that's who you want to talk to. I have to run because I'm using up Scott's time.
Yeah, no problem.
But this sounds like if you can get her address, yes, there's a contact button on our website. That's where I would start.
Okay, and I assume you're going to put this in the show notes?
Yeah, GAYATRI is her first name. Gayatri Agnew is her last name, AGNEW, and I'll put it in the show notes right now.
Okay, awesome.
Hey, it's a great question. As always, Julian, a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. Take care.
All right, take care. Bye. Sorry, Scott. All yours now, my friend.
Hey, no problem.
Still no clock. We're still working on it.
Well, actually, somebody in the chat room, who was it? Archandra, sent me his.
Oh, yeah, he has a very good clock. Yeah.
He has a clock online.
Yeah, he has a very good clock. Thank you.
So that's cool. Yes, thank you very much. Unfortunately, it doesn't superimpose on the Zoom, so I can't see it and the chat room at the same time, but I'll just keep looking back and forth. Anyway, somebody wanted to know the brand of the floating sphere back there. It's from a company called Floating Ideas, which unfortunately, floatingideas.com, which is the website on the box, is no longer available. In fact, it's for sale if you want to buy it. Because going there goes immediately to buyingdomains.com. And it's distributed, or was distributed, by a company called fascinations.com. And they're still there, but they only do licensed products, like Star Wars products now. At least that's all I could find on their website. I got this many years ago. My mom got it for me for Christmas or birthday, I think. Many years ago. So that is Phoenix Warp 1. Yes, I need to hook up with multiple monitors. Yeah, I know. Haven't done that yet. That could be something in my future for sure. Mike B sent me something on Amazon. Floating globe. What is floating globe? Oh, it's a similar thing. It's a similar thing, and it's only like $30. Wow. It's certainly more modern than mine. Oh, here's one for $90 that's floating on top of a spaceship-like thing, which that's pretty cool. But I might have to get one of these $30 ones. Those are pretty cool. Wow. Okay, cool. Oh, and they also have colored LED lights in the surrounding support structure. So that's kind of cool. Chickenhead 21. Yes, I do have multiple TVs, but they aren't in this room. My new office in Santa Cruz is tiny. It's not much bigger than a walk-in closet. So I don't have room for a lot of TVs in here. Thank you, Tech Dino. I appreciate that. Beatmaster. Yeah, video encoding systems don't like the backdrop, so much action. I was a little concerned about that, and but you tell me. Can you see the action clearly? Is it getting a lot of artifacts? Yes, Retcon 5. Every closet should have a TV. Let's see. Oh, here's another floating 3D rotation thing. in Sears. Oh, it's very similar. No, I don't want $35 off for my Sears. Thank you very much. Here, the one at Sears that Retcon just sent me is, in fact, very much like this one. More like this one. That's $170. Holy smokes. Chickenhead21 says one larger monitor as opposed to multiple smaller monitors. Yeah, I could do that. I'd have to rejigger my whole thing here. Beatmaster says looks good. Good. What's Sears, Twisted Mister? Yeah, exactly. Good question, Hamster MH. Do flat earthers have floating maps? Let's see. Jim Allen, can you describe the difference in light output regarding QD OLED versus LG OLED with a white subpixel? I suspect, I don't know for sure, but I think QD OLED probably has more light output. LG put the white subpixel in their regular OLEDs in order to increase light output. And they currently get to, well, most get to about 700 nits. I've heard that some of the super top-end ones can get to 1,000. I believe QD OLED will get higher than that because they're direct emitting quantum dots, and they can get very low. I think that's probably it. Where's my show timer? 4 seconds left. Here we go. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Scott.
My pleasure.
Why, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. If you want to talk about technology, high tech, I'm here for you. 888-827-5536. Website is techguylabs.com. I hope you had a calm and non-surprising April Fool's yesterday. Used to be, it's interesting, it used to be the tech industry just loved April Fool's Day. Remember Google? Every division of Google would have an April Fool's joke. And I think the memo went out. Knock it off. Just don't do it anymore. It's confusing people. I saw a few, not so many from the tech industry, but a few. Usually they're annoying, not funny. You know, Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel trading shows, no big deal. That's, that's mild. That's mild. Butterfinger created a mayonnaise. Mild. Dumb, but mild. Newegg put out a video of the world's smallest computer, so small you can't even see it. Immediately, dumb. That's a joke. So it's not like you get all, the ones I don't like is where you believe them. They're so credible. You go, what? And then you go, never mind. YouTuber Marquez Brownlee reviewed the $19 Apple polishing cloth. The Synology NAS folks announced a floppy drive network attached storage with 5 megabytes of capacity. Thank you, Google, for not doing it. I really appreciate it. I'm not a fan. Did Apple do? I don't think Apple did anything. I don't think Microsoft did anything. Not that I know of. I'm just looking through, the collation of all the April Fool's jokes. No, thank you. Thank you for not doing it. Google did all sorts of weird stuff in the day. In fact, you can go back and look, and I think they have a page dedicated to April Fool's jokes from years past. But I think it was 3 years ago. I remember that Google put out a memo. Was it the pandemic that did it? Or I feel like they realized It wasn't good. Yeah, Wikipedia has a whole page of April Fool's Day jokes. And it says in 2020, Google canceled them due to the pandemic, urging employees to contribute to relief efforts instead. Yay. Canceled again in 2021. And yes, again in 2022. You know what? This is one pandemic tradition I'd like to keep going. It's really hard if you're a journalist, a tech journalist especially. Years gone by, I've just said, I'm not looking at the news. I don't want to know. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. And that's no joke. Chris is on the line from Orange County, California. Hi, Chris. Thanks.
Hey, Leo, how are you? Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I do a lot of live streaming of sports, specifically baseball, and I do live commentary over those events that I produce. And I'm using my iOS device as one of my camera sources.
Yeah.
And I use it in conjunction. With an item called Zoom. It's a portable audio interface. It's called the Zoom H6 Black, and it's got 4 input channels, so you can either go with a 3-pin XLR or whatever. And when I'm connecting, I'm using the Apple camera adapter. So I'll come out of like a
that's
Zoom,
interesting,
which is a micro output. Yeah, and then I convert the signal USB into the back end of the camera, the Apple camera adapter, and then it's got the Lightning port to go into the phone. But I'm just curious because I'm getting a lot of static and a lot of just dysfunctional noise. It just doesn't seem like it's working properly. I've talked to Zoom. We've configured the device correctly, but I still get that issue where I'm not getting quality audio. And this is really a super cool device, but I don't know whether it's just because I've got too many things being connected. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it might well be. I'm trying to think. There are some apps. I'm almost rethinking your whole way of doing this. So your goal is to. By the way, does Major League Baseball ever get angry at you for doing this?
No, it's not Major League.
There you go.
So it's youth
baseball,
travel baseball.
Oh, so you're doing play-by-play. You're basically doing a broadcast of it. That's cool.
Absolutely, and it's super cool, especially for people like during COVID that parents and grandparents can't see their young kids.
I love that idea.
So it's a neat platform, and we push it out to multiple platforms, and we've had a lot of success with it. And I continue to expand that reach, but my audio pieces at times I struggle with it, so now I've got to go just direct.
So let me understand how you're doing this. There is a program called Shoot for the iPhone that turns your iPhone into a camera, so you're not using the camera adapter. This was what I was going to recommend, but let me see if I can understand the whole structure here. So you've got where's the video coming from? Is it coming from a camera or from your iPhone?
Yeah, it comes from camera. So I'll use my iPhone as a video tool, and then So
what you're trying to do is mix the video coming into your iPhone with audio coming from your Zoom, and then you're sending that to the same computer or to a computer, or what are you sending it to?
We send it out to a different platform because we actually have it's really pretty cool thing. We actually have a graphic overlay that will push it out to whether it's YouTube or whether it's Facebook, whatever.
So you have a USB.
So that signal all gets pushed out.
I'm just trying to understand the chain here. So you have the camera connector on the phone, and that's so that you can get the USB output of the camera. And that's going into the Zoom, or no? It's going separately into the computer?
No, it goes into the Zoom. So basically, the Zoom is the audio piece, and then we're connecting it to the camera, which is the phone.
Yeah.
And that the entire signal then gets pushed out
into what? And then you have a laptop there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I would suggest is not using the Zoom as the mixer for all of this. I'm not sure where the static's coming from, but I think eliminating the Zoom as the mixer would help. What you should probably want to do is you can use your iPhone as a camera. There's an app, as I said, called the Shoot Pro Webcam that turns your phone. One of the problems with the phone, the reason you're using the camera connection kit, is it will have informational overlays and stuff on the video. But with Shoot Pro Webcam, it's in the App Store. It turns your phone without any additional hardware into a USB camera that a computer can see. You put that in, and then what I would suggest is running a program called OBS Studio on the computer. And then you can take the output of the Zoom. I presume it has a USB output for the audio. You could connect the Zoom to a computer for USB audio.
Right.
Okay. And if not, then you could get a USB mic, which would be the simpler solution, just a simple USB mic that would connect into the computer. Now you have video coming in, and you have audio coming in, and then you use OBS Studio, which is designed to do this. This is the program that most Twitch and YouTube Let's Play streamers use. And it mixes the signals together, gives you a lot of capability. You can do overlays. You can do a lot more stuff with it. So that's one solution that would involve everything you've got, but just not having it mixed down in the Zoom, which I think might be part of the issue here. If the Zoom continues to crackle, then you can get an inexpensive USB microphone like the Audio-Technica ATR 2030. That's a very inexpensive USB microphone that would do the same job. And then you have a little bit more control.
Yeah. Well, I've had some experience with OBS, and I've used OBS in the environment that I work in, and keeping in mind that I'm sometimes in areas because I go using Wi-Fi, so I've got a hotspot.
Yeah.
So the connectivity with some of these devices is all Wi-Fi driven. So being able to isolate a good signal and not have latency or glitching or buffering or whatever, I had those problems when I used OBS.
Oh, interesting.
I used to go through OBS.
So what? So
and
I don't. So
there's just too much happening.
What are you running on your computer that's streaming?
I'm running the application that will convert the signal, which is it's called like the overlay or what?
Yeah. What are you using instead of OBS Studio?
Well, right now I'll go directly to a service. It's called Sideline.
So you've got a website open with You've got a website open with Sideline.
Correctly. So I'll open that group up, and then that's where my connectivity comes into place, and it'll pick up my video output from my iPhone, and I do it through Lyrics. You're probably familiar with the Lyrics app.
Yeah.
You're able to convert that, and that's tied in. So that's where the the video portion comes into effect, and it all interfaces with the Sideline group. But it's just, I think the OBS is great. I've used it, but there's so many layers and so many steps.
It seems like you've got more layers, to be honest with you. This seems worse. My issue is with it mixing the video through the Zoom, which is a lot of bandwidth going through the Zoom, and I think that's where the problem is. I think you want a solution that will take video separately, audio separately. You don't need a fancy thing like the Zoom, which is really built to be a recorder more than anything else. And then mix that down on the computer. There's one other solution that's really good. It would give you multiple cameras, which at some point you might want. And that's inexpensive. It's called the ATEM Mini from Blackmagic Design. It's about $300. It takes up to 4 HDMI inputs, so you could have 4 cameras, which means they could be static. You know, you could have one right behind home plate. You could have one of the outfield, and you can switch them. It's a switcher, and it also takes audio in, mixes it all down in that hardware, and then sends a single USB signal to the computer, which is what essentially you're doing. In other words, instead of using the Zoom, the ATEM Mini would probably be a better choice because it's designed to do that.
Interesting you say that because I actually have the ATEM Mini in my podcast studio.
Well, there you go.
It does work absolutely beautiful.
There you go.
But however, out in the field, I don't have a one in the field, and I've often thought about that.
I built my ATEM Mini into a Pelican case. Actually, Burke, one of my studio engineers, built it into a Pelican case. It's got everything in a little case you can carry around. It's portable. All you need is power and a computer, obviously.
It's great. It's really great.
The ATEM Mini Pro will even stream without a computer, so Yeah, see, I think
That's
that
I've got the Mini Pro.
There you go. So what we're seeing here is that you're trying to do, I think, with the Zoom too much. I don't think the Zoom can handle all that bandwidth.
I think so.
Yeah.
I agree, Leo. I think you're spot on there. So I think we'll terminate that piece and move on. Last question, real quickly, just Mevo. Being that you can use Mevo in a multicam application, they're small, they're portable, they're easy to travel because I travel around a lot.
Love the Mevo. Love the Mevo.
What's your thought on Mevo?
I had the first Mevo, which I was really impressed with. Then they sold to Logitech. I haven't tried the new ones, but my guess is they're going to be an excellent choice for that. Now, with a single camera, you can zoom, you can switch, you can say batter, pitcher, outfield, because as you know, it's a 4K image it's capturing that you can then use any part thereof. I think the Mevo is an excellent choice.
Right.
The only issue you're going to have with the Mevo, unless they've solved this, is the audio doesn't come from an separate source. Unless they've solved that, where it's now takes audio in. It used to use these array mics.
It will take audio in.
Awesome.
It will take it. Yeah, you're right. And I think now they've put the capability of connecting an audio.
That's another solution.
Which is really
cool. That's a perfect solution.
Well, good. Well, I really appreciate your input and insight. I've tried a million times to get through. You're a very popular tech person and very exceptional at what you do, and
Thanks,
I certainly appreciate your time and giving me some insight.
I think there are a lot of little league and what level ball is it?
Yeah, so we're playing across the nation.
It's traveling teams.
Travel, yeah. So it's a majors level, and we do a lot across the country with the top-rated players in the country. And
How exciting!
They're a very, very good program. So do you have
a website, or is it private?
You can learn more about it's ZT Baseball. Z is in zebra, T is in Tom Baseball Club at Facebook. So you can just go right there to learn more about the organization. We're in 8 states. We travel all over, and we're really trying to do more within the community to provide those types of opportunities for people to enjoy the game that can't necessarily travel.
I think it's a great idea, and you get to live out your dream of being Vin Scully. Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
And I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I just wanted to try to get my tech platform really, really well grounded so that our output's really good.
I love it.
Thank you, Leo.
Thank you for calling, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 88 Ask Leo, the phone number. Back to the phones we go, and on the line, it's Hop Frog from Paris, California. Hi, Hop Frog.
How you doing, Leo?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to share a quick April Fool's joke we did last year.
Okay.
I work for a company, and we sell parts for vintage British motorcycles. And they use really old technology for the ignition. We're talking points and condensers.
Wow.
Very old technology. And one of the upgrades that's done in the past few years is electronic ignitions. And every year we put out our April Fool's Day digital sales flyer to a lot of people. And one of the things we put on there last year was the Marconi wireless ignition.
Were you able to pick?
Your point, no pesky wires.
Were you able to pick up dots and dashes?
Well, the funny thing is, we had people. Most of our customer base was between 50 and 80 years old.
So they knew.
And
yeah,
they should have known. They should have known. But we had calls months afterwards.
Oh no.
To get this back in, we felt bad afterwards. We explained, no, this was an April Fool's prank. But when they got it, they just thought it was the greatest thing.
I saw one security researcher put out he says, I am publishing a database for all PIN numbers for all ATMs globally, worldwide.
Oh, no.
And if you looked at it, yeah, it was all the numbers from 0000 to 9999. It was. He's right. It was all the PIN numbers.
Yeah.
It just wasn't useful in any way. So maybe you should develop a Marconi ignition, and business would be brisk.
That's what people have actually been asking. That would be the greatest thing. You guys got to get on that.
Sometimes that happens. An April Fool's joke turns into a product. Hey, thanks for calling. I appreciate it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Johnny Jet coming up. Yes, it's the theme of the United States Postal Service, but originally it was the theme for Johnny Jet. Johnny Jet is here on the Tech Guy Show. We've been using this since day one, I think, right? I've been everywhere.
It's been a while.
I was a little perturbed. I'm watching the TV, and all of a sudden an ad for the Postal Service comes on. And I mean, it's not like we own Johnny Cash, but, you know, I'm thinking.
Well, I haven't seen that.
Yeah. I've been everywhere. Anyway, Johnny Jet is our travel guru. He helps us travel better with technology. And so I understand if you thought we were going to do something with the Postal Service today, but no, it's with the traveling guy. And you're home.
I am home, and I'm actually very happy about it because the airlines are having mini meltdowns today because there's some bad weather in the Midwest and in Florida. My sister is one of them. She was at West Palm Beach Airport last night, and JetBlue just kept delaying their flight. And actually, she called me up and said, listen, my flight's delayed by 2 hours. Can I show up to the airport late? I said, no, you can't, because a lot of times airlines will actually, scramble to get, new crew, or the weather might clear up, whatever.
Happen. I've been sitting at the airport and they said your flight's going to be delayed 5 hours. And instead, they go, oh, good news. We got some equipment, so you get on. And you better be there.
A lot of people don't monitor their flights. You need to monitor even after they say it's going to be delayed. Yeah. I always track the inbound and don't go too far away from the gate. So anyway, I told her she thought I was crazy, and then like an hour later she wrote, "Oh my God, you're right. They just moved the flight up an hour."
Whenever I fly, I will put the app for that airline on my phone.
Definitely.
And log in, set up an account, and say, "Give me alerts," all of that stuff.
Always.
Yeah. And
as well as TripIt.
Yeah.
So that way you have double backup.
So TripIt will send out an alert and say, hey, your flight's changed?
For sure.
Yeah, and I use TripIt. I love TripIt.
They used to do it before the airlines, although the airlines have now gotten savvy, and they're actually beat TripIt by a couple seconds.
They want you to have their app. And if you have an Apple Watch, a lot of these apps work on the Apple Watch as well, because you can use them to log in, to get into the... You can put your ticket on your watch and hold it up to the... Although it's always funny to see, not all of the readers can accommodate a full human hand. So I've seen people trying to get their hand jammed in there so that their watch, which has the QR code, can be read.
Yes.
Doesn't always work.
I still like to print out the boarding pass as well as have it just as a backup. Keep it in my back pocket.
What if the watch died or something? Yeah, exactly.
And I've had that happen.
Yeah.
So, or not die, it just malfunctioned.
Not working. And there's nothing worse. You got a long line of people want to get on the flight, and you're just ditzing around with your phone. That's not.
Well, I'm talking about security, going through security is even worse, because then you have to go downstairs and fight that battle.
How about this now? This is interesting. You can, in the state of Arizona, and I presume some more states, Apple has set up this to put your driver's license on your Apple Wallet, and you can use that to only in a few airports like Sky Harbor, you can use it to check in with a TSA.
Yeah, it's awesome, and more states are going to roll out with it, and I can't wait because
they have to have a reader. That's why it's not. You don't just show them your phone. You don't even really want to give them your phone. What you want to do is tap your phone to a terminal, and then it says, "I just gave the TSA everything."
I'm still surprised when they grab my phone to do it when I just put my phone over it.
I'm not letting anybody touch my phone. That's not.
But also use Clear. I use Clear, and you have to pay for it, but you don't even have to show your ID. So I've flown when I've lost my ID, and they just scan your eyes. And only once in a while will they ask you for an ID when you're using Clear.
Eyes are your ID. I love it.
Yeah, so that's a great way. But the thing about my sister's flight yesterday in Florida, it actually ended up getting canceled. And the worst part about it was she was in the airport for hours trying to get her bag back. So if you can avoid checking a bag right now, you will be a happy person if things like that happen. If delays or cancellations, because that way you can get on another flight and you don't have to wait around for hours. I was like, listen, just take off. She goes, normally I would, but I have some expensive dresses in there.
How long did it take to get her bag back?
I think 3 hours.
After they canceled the flight.
And she couldn't get in contact with anyone. And listen, I have elite status right now on American Airlines, the highest you can get, actually second highest. Concierge keys is the highest, and then I have executive platinum. I just called this morning to book a flight, and my hold time as an elite status over 3.5 hours.
Well, I guess you're not as elite as you thought you were, Johnny. Maybe
no, I mean, but the point is, if I have that whole time, what does a general member have?
A normal schlub like me, we're out of luck.
So I told her to contact them via Twitter, and she did not work. I think all these airlines are having staffing issues.
Yeah,
they are.
Oh, you think it's staffing issues? Ultimately,
I think that's one of them.
Not just weather. Southwest had a computer problem, and they're having delays this morning. But maybe staffing kind of makes it worse. The other thing that makes it worse is they're all so just in time. Is the way they put it in manufacturing, where you don't have extra stuff. You just have what you need. And if something
goes wrong... But they're also cutting back, and they're cutting back. They're trying to save money. And I mean, you can't blame them after the pandemic.
Yeah.
But they used to have 2 gate agents. Now they mostly have 1. So it's a problem.
It's a problem. That's all right. Life is hard. It's always been hard. Now it's just harder.
Well, it's actually, some airlines are, using technology for the good. So if your flight is delayed or canceled, they'll send you an email.
Right. Well, that's why I want
text
the app on there. Yeah.
And say you've been rebooked on this flight, and which happened to my sister. But a lot of them will not cover your hotel, and including my sister. So you need to scramble for these hotels, especially like in South Florida right now on a weekend where all these hotels are sold out.
If you are a road warrior, you have to have an array of tools on your phone ready to leap into action if anything goes wrong.
What I do is I either run to the airline club if I have a membership, because usually you can get to an agent right then and there, or you get in line, get on the phone, tweet, and do whatever you can to get in contact with someone, because time is of the essence, because there's not a lot of empty seats. So if your flight is delayed or canceled, especially during peak times, you're not going to be able to get on another flight for a while.
And if you see a bunch of guys in suits running down across the concourse towards the booking desk, something happened. You might want to run with them. Just get in line. Go on. I don't know what's going on, but I'm here.
Yeah. Or run the other way. Depends what kind of suits they're wearing. If they're talking into their sleeve, go the other way. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I got one more quick thing I wrote a post this week that did well about what's the first thing you do when you check into a hotel room, when you get into a room?
First thing I do is I take off my shoes and I jump on the bed. What should I do?
My son does.
Yeah.
One of the
first
things
old in life. Go ahead. What should I do?
One of the first things I do is I unplug the alarm clock.
Because it's always wrong. It's always
not wrong. The housekeeping doesn't check to see if it's been
somebody set
turned
the alarm.
Off.
Yeah.
For the night before at 3:00 in the morning, I've had that happen too many times, and I've learned my lesson.
Unplug
so don't let that happen to you.
The alarm clock. I noticed it's often wrong too. So it's all a mess. Yeah, unplug the alarm clock.
Unplug it.
Yes, that's good advice. And then at what point do you scan it with your blue light to make sure that it's been cleaned? Ever? Do you ever bring one of those?
I don't
UV?
care. I don't. I don't
want to know. Yeah.
And I bring wipes and I wipe down all the key points, like the.
That's smart.
Remote control is the dirtiest thing in the room.
That's smart. Good thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you a joke off the.
No, off the air, please.
Yeah, please.
I try not to stay in hotels where they bolt the remote control down, though, because it's harder to clean that way, right?
I haven't seen that.
Oh my gosh! I stayed many years ago in Las Vegas in Circus, and everything, the lamps, the remote control for the TV, absolutely everything was bolted down so you couldn't take it with you. I'm surprised they didn't bolt down the towels. Here's a corner, use that. Unbelievable.
That shocks me.
I know. Well, they must have had a problem they were solving.
But these days, most hotels will let you use your phone to connect to the TV. So you don't even need to touch a remote control.
I love it. I'm seeing more and more, or they'll let you log into your Netflix account, which is really a great boon. I love that. Everybody should do that. JohnnyJet.com, if you want to read all about it. His newsletters are free, JohnnyJet.com/newsletter. He's got a podcast there. He's also got a YouTube channel. He is a traveling man. Joins us every week. Thank you, Johnny. Safe travels.
Thank you. You too.
Where are you going this week?
We are traveling in 2 days.
The whole fam?
You know it.
fam's going somewhere. You've already been to Hawaii, so it can't be that. Oh, I bet you're going to Canada.
You'll find out.
Time to visit Toronto. Toronto.
It's a little chilly there right now.
Yeah, I bet. That's all right. Patio weather is days away.
I don't know about Canada.
Well, their definition of patio weather also is a little bit more broad than you and me. More the people living in beautiful downtown LA. All right, Johnny. Have a wonderful week. Safe travels. Will you be home next week?
You'll find out.
Oh, I will. Okay. Thanks, John.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye. Listeners of this program get an ad-free version if they're members of Club Twit. $7 a month gives you ad-free versions of all of our shows, plus membership in the Club Twit Discord, a great clubhouse for Twit listeners. And finally, the Twit Plus feed with shows like Stacy's Book Club, The Untitled Linux Show, The Giz Fizz, and more. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit. And thanks for your support. Jazzy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. I know you're not playing this, Jeremiah. Are you playing this song? Professor Laura would never play that song. Elbow is on the line from Los Angeles. Hello, Elbow.
Hey, Leo. Good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks for calling. Good to talk to you. What can I do for you?
iPhone question. I'm an old guy and still trying to catch up with technology, but I get all these phone calls, so many random in a row, that don't leave a message, but they're not really necessarily important. And I've already...
They're robocalls. If you answer them, do they say, hang on for a special message, or your auto warranty is about to expire, or how would you like a weekend in beautiful Hawaii? Anything like that? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
so those are what we call robocalls. There is a nice way on the iPhone to stop getting those. But it may not be what you want, but I'm going to mention it. You can, with the iPhone, say, I don't ring my phone if it's not somebody I know, if it's not in my contact list.
Oh, interesting, because I block them all, but they still come.
Yeah, because they're spoofing the outgoing number. This is a huge problem, and thank you, FCC, for not fixing it.
Yeah.
So what FCC tried to sort of fix this by creating a system called Stir and Shaken that is a way of identifying the originating source, and in particular the originating phone number. So it eliminates spammers because they don't want to be identified, and they don't want to use a real phone number. So it's a very effective way of doing this. The problem is they make the big companies do it, but they don't make the little companies do it. It's too much revenue. They don't want to give it up, is my opinion. So that's where all these spoof calls come from. So,
I even tried calling back one number.
No, it's not
the guy goes, I never called you. And I go, yeah, you just...
Yeah, no. That's, please. Someday somebody will call you saying, what are you calling me for? And you'll say, no, it wasn't me. It's not. It's a spoofed number. It's not a real number. No point in calling them back. So I'll tell you the problem. If you can say, in your settings on the iPhone, I don't want to get calls from unknown numbers. But if you do that, anybody calls you with an unknown number, they'll just go straight through to voicemail. And here's where I have a big problem. My doctor, for privacy reasons, I'm guessing, uses an unknown number. And for privacy reasons, won't leave a voicemail. So check with your physician and make sure they're not going to do that. But if you go into the settings for phone on your phone, and then you go to so this is confusing. You're on your iPhone. You go to the settings. Then you go to the setting called phone. Okay. And you can say, you can have all sorts of information there. Silence unknown callers. You could try blocking them, but of course, as you've realized, the phone number changes every single time. So that's not going to be helpful. But Apple has put in some very useful tools in there that are independent of your phone company. The other thing you can do, of course, is contact your phone company. They want you to if you get robocalls. But that's the same problem, essentially. If they're not willing to block calls from little carriers, carriers that aren't using Stir and Shaken, then it's not going to fix it, because that's who the spammers use. They use little internet-based phone originators to call you.
One day I was waiting for an important phone call from my doctor.
Right.
I had to answer every single one because I wasn't sure who it was.
Yeah. Isn't that awful? And they use your area code. And I mentioned at the beginning of the show, they're even now using your phone number to text you.
Yeah.
Saying this is your phone company. Ignore those. Ignore those. So I have turned on my phone silence unknown callers.
Silent unknown callers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that way, at least you won't get a caller that's, and the way they know it is it's in your contact list. So your kids, your mom, your family, your work, all of those people should be in your contact list. If they're not, add them. They'll go through.
Well, one slight problem with that is that, Leo, I work in the motion picture television industry, and I get calls from other guys.
I know. John Travolta will not, he just keeps doing this block and caller ID. John, stop it. So, no, I get it. You do get blocked calls, unknown calls. That's a bigger issue. I don't know how to fix that. That's the flaw in all this. You got to just tell people, please turn on caller ID, because otherwise, because you're not alone. This is universal.
Yes.
This is a huge problem.
Very.
So who's calling with blocked IDs, motion picture, like jobs and stuff?
Well, no, just like other crews, they need a man at the last minute.
Right. Yeah.
And so they call, or I'm not sure if they're calling, who it is calling, and
so you do see a number, but you just don't know who that number is.
I don't know who that number is, and I've answered it several times, of course, and it's
robocalls. Yeah.
And I'm waiting for a call for somebody, you know, and
that's so horrible.
It is. It's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. And my friends who also have iPhones have the same thing. They spend at least 2-3 minutes a day deleting or blocking.
Isn't that ridiculous?
It is really ridiculous. Really ridiculous.
So write a note to the FCC saying you've got to enforce stir and shaken. Phone companies, you know, they left a little loophole basically. And phone companies should not accept. And if, you know, by the way, if good on you for calling, because the phone companies are hearing this. They know they're getting a lot of bad press because they're allowing this. Who's your carrier?
Verizon.
All Verizon have to do is say, we will not accept phone incoming calls or texts from companies that don't use authentication, that don't use stir and shaken. And that will immediately eliminate all the spam. Right there. They'll get none.
I even joined the Verizon, what is it here? It's called, I can't remember what it's called, the spam blocker and stuff, whatever it is.
And that's not working.
It's not working. Not working at all.
Yeah. Well, they do, you know, okay, I'll be honest, I'm a cynic, but they do that so you think they're doing something. But they are not doing the one thing that the FCC says will fix this. And it's very simple. I mean, I know why they don't do it. They're afraid of calls not getting through from, you know, some little Caribbean phone company that, you know, you might want. But honestly, this is the solution. And the FCC has given them the tools. They've even mandated that they use them, but they left in the loophole that allows them to not use it. Let me see if there's a date. As of April 20th, 2021, last year, a year ago, FCC requires all providers certify in the Robocall mitigation database that they have fully implemented stir or shaken. But they kind of loopholed out a bunch of providers, apparently. So it just seems to me, I don't know if it's the FCC's fault or Verizon's fault. Verizon could easily say, we will not accept unauthenticated calls, and that would eliminate it. I guess maybe they don't want to do it because they're afraid that, you know, somebody's going to call from Trinidad and Tobago and it won't go through because it's not authenticated.
Side question onto that. So, like I said, I had to answer the phone because I was waiting for a very important.
Yeah.
Now, do they put you on another list that you actually answered the phone?
Yeah, you bet. Yes, okay. So this is why you don't want to interact in any way with robocalls, because as soon as somebody picks up, they go, "Hey, we got a live one," because they're just using random numbers.
Right.
Many of the numbers don't answer, don't respond, don't do anything. As soon as you pick it up, they go, "Hey, put that in the database." You're exactly right. Your instinct was exactly right. Your gasp of exasperation has been heard nationwide. I completely agree with you. This They got to do something about this. And honestly, it's going to come down to the FCC.
Especially if you're waiting for an important phone call, so you have to answer.
Yes.
What number they're calling from.
Yes.
And I'm so frustrated. And now that you've said that, you are put on another list, that he answered the phone.
You don't even want to answer it. You got to, though. You got to. You got no choice. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I share your frustration. You're in that group of people who have to answer the phone. They can't say, "Oh no, it has to be somebody I know." I mean, I guess you could go through and add every phone number from every possible source of work.
In the television and motion picture industry, Leo, thousands of guys.
Thousands of them.
Thousands.
What do you do?
I work for. I'm a almost retired lighting technician.
A gaffer.
Yes.
You're a gaffer. I love gaffers.
Yes.
God bless you.
I've done so many shows, and the last big show I did was a red carpet at the Critics Awards, which was really cool.
How fun is that? How fun is that?
Fun.
Yeah. So you do mostly TV, or do you do film as well, or?
No, I try to stay away from film because that can really
long hours.
Well, you don't have a life.
Yeah.
Because they want to stay within the 8 hours that you're off. So you start Monday morning at 9 and you finish at 10. You got 8 hours. So now your in time changes to the next day, and then the next day. So you start coming in at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon on a Friday. You don't.
No.
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
It's I can't do that. My body can't take it. I'm 65 and I can't do that anymore.
Hey, but you're going to have a nice pension, I'm hoping, when you retire.
I've looked at that. It's somewhat there, but I kind of joined late.
Yeah.
But it's there. It's something better than nothing, yes. And I'm still working at it. And the hard thing is, of course, the retirement age is 67 for Social Security. And
right. Oh, I know. I'm 65. I'm your age. Yeah. I have to hold out to 70 if I can.
That too, if I can. I don't think I can.
Yeah, and you have a physical job. You can't, you got to be going up ladders and stuff. You can't.
Yeah, and then the other thing too is I'm working on a show that we're working with a lot of LED lights.
Yeah. So
it takes almost, it takes more time to put it up because now you have to program it, learn how to program it.
Yeah, we've moved almost entire. Well, we still use a few fluorescents, but my key light is a fluorescent. But all the highlights and everything are LEDs. They're just expensive, those panels. So,
but they work much better. And
we love them. Yeah, and they don't burn out. No heat. It's nice.
No, you could get the ones that have the Kelvin temperature from 5200 to 32, which is better on the eye.
Yeah,
which is probably what you need there.
Well, I think we're 6500 in here. I don't know. What are we, John? Are we daylight? What do we use in here? I can't remember. 57, he says. Yeah, that's easier for me.
That's bright. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bright.
Yeah.
I'm used to it. Hey, it's a real pleasure talking to you. I love that your groan, because I'm going to turn that into an audio sound and use it on the show anytime anybody calls about caller ID. And
first-time caller.
Nice to meet you, Elbow.
Thank you very much.
Is that your nickname? Is that your gaffer nickname?
Yes, but it's actually spelled ALBOW.
Oh, nice. Albo. I love it. Nice to meet you, Al.
Thank you very much for taking my call.
Have a great one. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Nice guy. That was fun. I always love talking to the guys in the trades, especially the film and movie, TV. The IATSEs. I like talking to the IATSEs. Now, John, I'm not getting anything. I don't remember what we did last. Yeah, I'll do them. I got one. That's not too bad. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Yes, it's me. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888, Ask Leo, the phone number. If you want to talk high-tech with me, I'd love to talk high-tech with you. 888-827-5536. Website where we put everything I talk about, all the links up. TechGuyLabs.com will also put audio from the show, video from the show, and a transcript of the show up there. It takes a day or so to get all that stuff up there. But techguylabs.com. You're looking for today's episode 1881. Back to the phones we go, and on the line, Ray from Los Angeles. Hello, Ray.
Hey, Leo. Thanks for taking the call.
Hey, thanks for calling. What's up?
No charge. Hey, listen, I've got a USB stick that is not being read by about a 5-year-old RCA television. I converted WMA files into MP3. The television reads the USB stick, but not in the order that the files were on the USB stick.
Right.
So if I have files 1 through 63 on the television, it starts with 2, goes to 22.
Can it play them back?
It plays them fine.
Yeah. So it's not an issue of the file format. It's just that you don't like the sort order.
Yeah, the sort order, and I sorted it on the USB stick, but when
no, you didn't. Okay, so I think here's the issue. The USB stick is sorting in pretty much an arbitrary order. What you're seeing when you say sorted is the file explorer displaying it sorted in some way. But really, the USB is not sorting it in that order. So what you want is kind of a way, let me just see, to put it in the physical order, which would involve moving files. And so if you think about it, when you say to the File Explorer, hey, I want to see this alphabetical, it does it like that because it's not moving those files around on the USB stick. They're just stored in some arbitrary order. Basically, it goes through the directory. It says, what's free? I need this much space. Thank you. I got it. So what you need is a program, and I bet you there's such a thing. In fact, I dimly remember programs that would save them out into the physical order that you want. And then, because the TV's dumb. The TV is not paying any attention to file names or anything. It's just saying, what's the first one? What's the second one? What's the third one?
The TV has not listened to me in the past.
It's not listening to you, yeah. Let me see. Okay, so I'm looking Philips, which makes USB keys.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. He's very excited about something.
Yeah, the dogs are very frustrated as well.
They say, what are you on the phone for? Get off the phone. I want to play. I want to do something. So this is crazy. There must be a better way to do this. But, okay, what you do is you take all the files off the USB, right?
Okay.
And format it. This is important. So by formatting it, you're clearing out the directory. You're saying there's nothing on here.
Yep.
On the computer, you sort the files in the order you want.
Yeah, is it format as FAT or?
Yeah, FAT's the most legible. The old RCA will probably be able to handle FAT.
Got it.
If you get anything fancier than that, now, what Philips says is sort the files in File Explorer, then select them all, Control-A, Control-C to copy them, then go to the new folder and Control-V to paste. And Philips says, oh, you know what? This is because they have a dumb player. This is their answer to this. Philips says when you do that, it will stay in that order because you formatted the drive, right? And you're copying them. And when you do the copy, then the operating system goes A through Z or whatever order you want it to be. I think there is also, there must be in the copy command, there must be copy in the order that it's sorted.
Order, right.
Yeah.
The other question we were wondering is there a device rather than purchasing a computer or out there that will play the USB files, but that we can see and read what the file name is? Or do I need to invent one?
No, there were quite a few of these back in the day. I don't know if there still are. It's kind of changed, over the years. People don't have physical media so much. They stream everything. But in the day, you were able to buy USB drives that would have a video interface. and you'd plug it into the TV, and the USB drive was really just a little computer and would display the album art and all of that stuff and play it back that way. I imagine they're still being made. I'm looking here at the command line switches for Robocopy, which is a command line copy that's a little bit better, a little more robust on Windows. And to see if there is a way to copy it in a particular order, because that's what you want. You want to preserve the alphabetical order. Well, there's so many switches, I don't know. Look up two copy programs that are already on your Windows machine, and look at the command line to see if they'll do what you want, which is to copy them in the same order they're sorted. One is called Xcopy, and one is called Robocopy. And Microsoft has docs pages where they will describe all these switches, and there are a lot of switches. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I'm looking at Xcopy right now. There should be a way to copy it in the same order. And it may be if you just you format the drive first and then copy it. That may work. That may work. And if anybody, let's see. Here we go. Thank you. Scooter X in the chat room thinks he might have found something that will hook up to your TV from a company called AGP Tech. Yeah, it's an HDMI media player. So you plug your USB drive into it, and it has a remote control. It has an interface. You know what? This may solve the whole problem. It's only $40. I'll put a link in the show notes to it. This may solve the whole problem because it probably will show them in the order that it's that you want it to be. You'll be able to sort it. It sure has a lot of buttons on the remote. Movie, music, photo. Looks like it does a lot of things. AGP TEK HDMI mini player. It doesn't have its own storage. You plug your drive that you're using or a USB drive into it, and then it displays it on the TV. So it's, in other words, instead of the RCA reading that drive, it's this little player. And I bet you there's quite a few of them. And Irvine Rob in the chat room has come up with a copying program. Again, you may not need it. I would look what the free Microsoft programs do. But it's called Drive Sort. Sorts the directory tables of a volume according to a customizable order. That's nice because you wouldn't have to copy them again. So I'll put a link to that too. Looks like that's free from Anarty's Lair. You know, if you've got an itch, there's a geek out there somewhere who's scratched it. 88, so we've got two links, and we'll put them at techguylabs.com. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number if you want to talk high-tech with me. Thanks to the chat room, by the way. They are great. Team Tech Guy at irc.twit.tv. Always indispensable. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. More calls to come. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. If I have seen farther than others, it is because I stand on the shoulders of giants. I think, actually, that's from Sir Isaac Newton. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888 Ask Leo. Mike on the line from Cerritos, California. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Thank you for calling.
I've been listening to you for many years, and I've learned a lot from your show, and I don't know where I'd be without a lot of the stuff I learned. So.
I learned, too. I learned never to ask Siri for a phone number again.
Yeah, that was surprising. Boy, I feel sorry for that fellow.
Isn't that awful? Oy, oy, oy.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. But so I've got a couple questions. The first one, the main one, is about VPNs. I'm going to be doing some traveling in the later this year, and I wanted to take my HP laptop with me, and because I'm going to be using Wi-Fi maybe in a hotel or wherever I'm at, I wanted to put a VPN on my computer.
Great idea.
Yes, I got that from your show.
That's one of the honestly, most of the time you probably don't need a VPN, but that's one of the compelling uses for it. And yeah, it became clear to me when I, some years ago, was staying at a hotel and I fired up a Mac, and Apple at the time had a way to share your music with iTunes, and I saw everybody's music in the whole hotel, and I thought,
wow,
that's not good. That's not good.
No,
a good hotel will prevent some of that, but yeah, why rely on their good services? Get a VPN.
No.
They're inexpensive, they're easy, they work well.
Well, it didn't work so well for me, of course. That's why I'm calling.
What happened?
I picked one of the more popular VPNs. I don't know if I'm supposed to say the name.
Say the name, yeah.
I put on Surfshark.
Okay.
Which is supposedly it got good reviews, and it's not a free one. I paid for it, but to be honest, I had nothing but problems. As soon as I installed it and launched it, I started going to some of the websites that I frequently use, like my banking.
Yeah, a lot of places won't use a VPN because hackers and trolls use them to hide their identity.
Well, that seems to be the problem, because I started logging into, like, I wanted to go to Bank of America.
Yeah.
And the page wouldn't load. And then I went to eBay, and it made me do that thing where I had to pick out the pictures that match the description.
Well, they do that a lot anyway, but yes, okay.
Yeah. And then
CAPTCHA.
later on, eBay sent me a message saying you have to change your password. We think somebody's trying to hack your account.
So what that is, because that may just be geolocation. They said, well, wait a minute, you're coming from the British Virgin Islands. That's not right.
Yeah. Well,
so remember, when you're using a VPN, what you're doing is you're scrambling, and you know this already, but I'm going to say for everybody, you're scrambling everything that comes out of your computer until it reaches the VPN server. In this case, Surfshark's server. And then it goes out in the public world using the IP address from that server. So that can cause a myriad of difficulties. For instance, you can't get into our chat room because we will say, well, you aren't who you say you are. You're pretending to be somebody in the British Virgin Islands, so we won't let you in. Banks, which of course really are concerned about security. Here's the good news. When you're going to the bank, you can turn off the VPN because the bank's using encryption between you and your computer anyway. It's using, that's that HTTPS for secure. The padlock's closed and the bank has a certificate and your browser's encrypting everything. So even if I'm staying in the same hotel, I might see that you're going to the bank, but I can't see anything else. And I certainly can't intercept any traffic.
Well, that's news to me. I didn't know that.
That's one of the reasons VPNs are less common, is because almost all websites, eBay does it too, now use HTTPS. And you can see that in the address at the top there. If you're not, unfortunately, Apple and others now are hiding this information. But if you turn it on, you can see, or if you click the padlock or the shield, you can see, oh yeah, the certificate says this is eBay. That's good. And it means everything in between me and eBay is now encrypted. So one thing probably you should do if you're using a VPN, it's nice if you can keep it open and a lot of them have a big button that says turn on and turn off. When you're going to the bank, turn it off. When you're going to eBay, turn it off. Because if it's causing problems, obviously it's not helping. And you are secure. Yep. You don't need to worry about it.
I chatted with the people at their help desk off and on for about the better part of the week, and they had me changing servers. They had me changing the IP address from static.
No. This is the problem is they're not paying those help people much more than minimum wage. If you really know this stuff, you can get a job on the radio, make hundreds of thousands a year. Don't work for minimum wage.
Yeah.
Most customer support people are nice people. I'm not knocking them. But most of the time they're working out of a notebook. And what they don't know is what I just told you, which they should, but they don't. So
if I go and I'm traveling and my web browser shows HTTPS,
you're secure.
I don't need to use a
VPN. Nope. Nope.
That's interesting. Because everything I would want to do would probably have that HTTPS.
That's exactly right. In fact, there was an interesting article in the New York Times about VPNs just a few months ago. I'll put a link in the show notes. It came out in October by a good guy, Brian X. Chen, saying it's time to stop paying for a VPN. Now, he has two reasons. One is because a lot of the VPN companies are owned by advertising companies and other things. We have a sponsor VPN. I won't say the name, but yeah, and they did get acquired by a company that used to do online advertising. So I really quizzed them when that happened, and we continue to do ads for them because they convinced me that this does not change how they operate. But you really do want to check out a VPN. So that's one issue that Brian talks about, and the other issue is, frankly, you don't need it in many cases. Are you on a PC?
Yeah, I have a Windows 10 HP laptop.
Yeah.
It's a late model. You know, another interesting thing that happened besides the websites is, for some reason, I couldn't use my printer, my wireless printer.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing, because it's no longer you. Yeah, so that's what a VPN does. It makes you somebody else. And, you know, your printer is not going to let somebody else print to your printer.
Sure.
Right?
But
so VPN is still useful. I still support them. I still use them. You gave the perfect use case, but it's not necessary for a lot of the things we do these days. And since almost everything we do now, you know, this is relatively recent that there was Google created a big campaign. They call it HTTPS Everywhere. And they said, we will rank you higher in search ratings if you turn on HTTPS. And every darn website, even my websites, which have no reason to be secure, turn it on because Google ranks you better. Okay. It's an easy thing to do. And so most sites you're going to now are HTTPS. So they're encrypted in the same way they would be if you're using a VPN. So I think I would leave the VPN on while you're just, if you like, you're plugged in or you join the hotel Wi-Fi, leave the VPN on. Because then that just keeps people from seeing what you're doing, messing with you, that kind of thing. But when you're going to a bank, if they give you any trouble at all, just turn it off. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The VPN has other advantages for security point of view. For instance, somebody in the hotel can't see you're there and can't spoof you and stuff like that. So that's why if you're just going to stay connected to the hotel Wi-Fi, I'd leave it on at that point. And then just disable it when you need it.
Okay. Yeah, because everything I want to do is kind of stuff that I have to log into if I'm going to be traveling.
If you have to log in, make sure it says HTTPS before you log in, and then you're golden. Okay.
Well, that's comforting to know. I didn't realize I would be that secure with the HTTPS.
Yeah. The one thing they can see is that you're going to that site, but they can't see the conversation with that site.
Okay, so they can't get my password?
No. And you should never use an email provider that doesn't use HTTPS because, in the old days, a few years ago, if you logged into your email provider without a VPN, you're sending your password through the air unencrypted. That would be bad. But nowadays, Gmail and everybody else uses HTTPS.
If my computer stays logged into like Gmail, if I don't log out, and I just plug the computer in somewhere else, is that safe? That like I haven't typed in the password?
Yeah. So what it's doing is saving on a cookie on your computer that's a token that says, "Oh, this is Mike." Right. The token expires. That's why every once in a while you do have to log in again. But that token, Facebook does it. A lot of people do that. That also, by the way, was a cause for a bad hack called Firesheep that allowed people at a coffee shop to log into your Facebook and start posting as you. And that was the primary reason why Facebook and everybody else went to HTTPS. That prevents it. So, so yes, you're still secure. You're using that token. The token can't be stolen. But again, if you're just sitting on the internet, I would use the VPN.
Okay. Could I ask a quick question about your website?
Yeah.
A few months ago, you changed it, and now I can't search the way I used to.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you use Google to search it, though. You should be able to search if you say site:twit.tv, which is the website's address. Tech Guy Labs redirects to twit.tv. That's the podcast site. And then do the search term. That actually works better than the old search worked anyway.
Okay, because I used to be able to pull
I know. I'm sorry.
I put something in there, a term, and I could pull up all the
I
times
know.
that you-
It makes me... So what happened is the software we used on that site was pretty old, and we were informed by the company that does it, Drupal, that there was a major update coming and they would no longer support the old software. Just like Windows, we were like effectively using Windows 95. And we went to the company that set it up and said how much to fix it, and they said $250,000, and we choked. I choked, and said, well, we have another site. We're going to fix that site. That's also running Drupal. We are going to fix that site. So let's just move Tech Guy Labs over to that site. But we did lose that. We lost a number of features. We lost all the old shows. We lost the search capability, and I apologize.
Yeah, because that was valuable, especially if I missed the show.
It's going to get better because we do now do transcripts, which we didn't do before, and Google will search through those transcripts.
Right.
So that's the good news is you'll start getting better search, but it's going to take a little while before it gets everything in there. Okay. I apologize. That was just because I was too cheap.
I wouldn't spend that money either.
That's a lot of money. Hey, it's a good talking to you, Mike. Have a great day. All right, Mr. G.
Hey, Leo.
Hi, Dickie.
Oh, what's that cute little thing you have?
Cute little thing? My little penguin?
On your desk.
The little Atari? Yeah. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, living in a disco wonderland, Dick DiBartolo, although he calls it his Boogie Disneyland. Hello, Dickie.
How are you?
He's our gizmo wizard, our gizwiz. I am great. I bought your gizmo from last week. Thank you very much.
Oh, the little Atari, the world's smallest Atari 2600.
I love this thing.
Your finger, can you play it?
Yeah, sure, totally. I mean, it's pretty tiny. So it's a little TV set with a cute little bent rabbit ears, and it's attached to the world's smallest Atari 2600 game machine. Dick talked all about it last week.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's got a joystick and everything, and it works great.
Oh, super.
Falls over once in a while. But it works great. And yeah, I can play the games. I was playing, it's kind of cool because you can play, and you and I both started with Ataris. Let's see. I'm gonna play Tempest here. And it plays, somebody said it's not the exact version, the 2600 version, but I feel like it's pretty good.
Yeah. On a 1.5-inch screen, you don't have to worry.
It's a fun game. Yeah.
I would not look for Dolby sound.
No, Micah, after the show last week, ran out and bought two, one for him and one for me. Yeah. So thank you for that recommendation. What am I going to buy this week?
You know what? This is really fun. Not only is it fun, you can make your money back really easy.
Is it Bitcoin?
No, not at all. Not at all. Okay, it is an it's an LED light. Okay, and what's neat about it is that it is in the lamp, and all the time it's in the lamp, it is charging because it has a little built-in battery.
Yes,
but they send it, and now
so if the power goes out, it's like it stays on.
You know what? I thought it did until I was playing with it with the circuit breaker in my house. It's actually the problem with the ones that
just to test this, you turned off all the power.
No, just in a couple of in the back.
Don't you have
room,
a light switch you could use?
Well, I wanted to make sure. I'll tell you, I have power strip plugged into power strip.
That's true.
And if it's not plugged into a wall, it probably is not going to work properly.
If FDNY is listening, Dick is a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, but In the box with it comes this it's a little plastic square.
Okay.
And it has 2 slots like it's a plug.
Yeah.
So you can, if the light is in a lamp and the power goes out, you can say to your friend, oh, you know what? It's okay because I'll just plug the lamp into my portable wireless outlet.
Yes.
And when you do that,
oh my God,
the lamp.
So but the juice is all in the bulb because it's got a battery in the bulb.
But
why does it need to plug into that little thing, though? I don't understand that.
Because that completes the circuit.
Oh.
Okay. You know, I freaked Myra out. You know, Myra is a weekly guest, and I said, Myra, look what I have, wireless electricity. And I plugged the lamp
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like the light bulb you put in your mouth that lights up. Yeah. Yeah.
You could do that. Okay. You know why? I'm not going to put it in my mouth.
Are you saying you can complete the circuit with your tongue? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I can say you can do it with a wet finger, and I'm assuming.
Oh, it works.
Yeah, I'm not going to stick it in my mouth.
Do they say that in the manual? Do not put it in your mouth.
It says no. It says start it with a damn finger.
Start it with a damn finger.
Finger, okay. But there's more. It comes with a little screw-on on-off switch with a hook.
Okay.
So if the power goes out, you can screw the bulb into that. You'll get 3 to 4 hours of power. And now you have a little portable bulb with a hook.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can hang it in the workshop while you work on fuses or anything like that.
Uncle Fester would love this.
Yeah, I think they're relatively inexpensive. They're $9. You have to. They sell them in pairs, $17.99, and I got 2 of them in the package.
And what's the name of the product? So we can.
Okay, it has a really stupid name. It's called Jack on Lux. JACK on.
You know what?
WX.
Forget it.
Go
to gizwiz.biz.
And I have a little video of the
gizwiz.biz. Click the button, the big button that says. The GizWiz visits the tech guy. That's me. And then you'll go to that page and...
You're the tech guy?
It's me. Did you know that all this time? You just thought I was some guy.
People were saying, you should listen to... And I said, I do this thing with this guy, Leo. But I said, if you have a contact with the tech guy, I'd like to be on his show because it's wildly popular.
I'll never forget.
Well, this is...
I went backstage to visit Steve Martin at a concert he did in the area. He very kindly invited me to go backstage and hi. And there were other people there all excited about meeting Steve Martin. And Steve puts his arm around him. He says, hey, everybody, it's the tech guy. And they just looked at me and they had no idea whatsoever. I said, Steve, they don't care, yes. Steve. They're here to see you. He's a very humble man, I guess.
No, that's great.
GizWiz, G-I-Z, Gizmo Wizard, right? GIZWIZ.biz. Click the blue link that says the GizWiz visits Steve Martin. I mean, the tech guy. And then he wishes in his dreams. And then you'll see all the stuff he's mentioned on the show, including this. And you can go right to the Jack on Lux LED bulb. Or get the world's smallest working Atari 2600, which was last week's.
Perfect.
Or the Black & Decker Drink Maker, which was 2 weeks ago. You can also click the button that says, what the heck is it? And play the What the Heck Is It contest. You got a new one.
Well, yeah, this is...
oh, no, April. It doesn't...
we have all of April.
This goes through April. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I saw some owls there for a second, but that was just a mistake.
Oh, that was a burglar alarm system.
Okay. I don't know why they popped up briefly, but now I see the big red button, it looks like. Yeah, is it a button?
Could be. It's whatever you want, yeah.
It could be a yo-yo. It could be a flying saucer for an ant. I don't know what it is. But if you do, submit your guess up to 6 Autograph Mad magazines for the correct answer, but you know what? There's twice as many for the best wrong answer, best being funniest. gizwizbiz@gmail.com. But you know what? Read all the rules. And do we know what we're playing for yet?
Well, you're playing for the June issue, and I should have
we don't have it yet, though.
By next week or the week after.
I know, because Dick sends me these. I don't even have to play, and I get them. And this is a great piece of memorabilia. You will want this. I love it. From Mad's maddest writer, 5 decades. He started in high school writing for Mad Magazine. Don't forget his podcast, too. He does it with Chad Johnson. It's the GizWiz Show at gizwiz.tv. How many gadgets do you do on that show? It's like a bunch of them.
Yeah, I do 3 new gadgets, then Chad does a gadget, and then we do a warehouse thing.
Wow.
So we do 5 gadgets.
That's a lot of stuff.
I know.
Dick has so many gadgets. He spends hundreds of dollars a month to store them in the Dick's Gadget Warehouse, and he'll pull out classics. So like in a few years, you'll pull out this light bulb, and I bet it'll still work. Yeah.
It probably will.
Probably still work. Thank you, Dickie D. Have a great week.
Okay, buddy. See you next week.
Thanks to all of you for stopping by. We appreciate it. Thanks to Jeremiah and Laura doing the music today. Thanks to Kim Schaffer answering the phones. But, of course, most importantly, thanks to you for joining me. We'll do it all again tomorrow. If you're around, come by, say hi. Don't forget the website, techguylabs.com. Audio and video from the show goes there after the fact, plus our transcripts, so you can follow along as you listen. techguylabs.com. I'm Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, wishing you all a wonderful day. And I hope you survived April Fool's, and we'll see you next time. And as always, I want to bid you a safe and happy Geek Week. Take care. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.